Welcome back to the broadcast. Again, this is Inside Politics. The National Super Alliance, NASA Lifeline, could be extended, albeit for a few more days following renewed wrangles pitting two factions that are seeking to control the Ford Kenya party, which is one of the former affiliate parties of the now defunct NASA. The Wafula Munyinyi-led faction faulted a move by Moses Wetangula group to exit from the NASA coalition, claiming proper procedures had not been followed. The move now leaves NASA technically alive, since ODM had not written to the Register of Political Parties to pull out. Let's get more from Emmanuel Toll.
2 days after the Ford Kenya party group led by Moses Wetangula displayed the joint letter signed alongside Wiper and ANC party leaders to officially pull out of the NASA coalition, the other faction of the Lion Party led by Kandui legislator Wafula Munyinyi and Tongaren MP Eseli Simiyu have come out guns blazing. The fight for the soul of the party now not only splitting the party further, but also extending the lifeline of the NASA coalition, since ODM has not officially written to the office of the Registrar of Political Parties to pull out of NASA.
We have already done a letter, which you must be in your possession, to the Registrar of Political Parties, pointing out that Wetangula doesn't have mandate of this party to sign anything to the registrar on behalf of Ford Kenya.
The leaders now saying they have written to the Registrar of Political Parties not to admit the signature of Bungoma Senator and party leader Moses Wetangula for dissolution of NASA.
He should stop moving about and signing agreements and purporting to represent Ford Kenya in engagements with other political parties.
That a sanction be and is hereby given to Ford Kenya party members who have engaged in errand activities in destabilizing the party.
The team also saying it has been in communication with ODM to withhold the 36 million shillings of the 308 million shillings meant for Ford Kenya from the political parties fund.
Either kesi itolewe au tuende NDC tuamue viongozi ni nani ndio pesa itolewe na wakakubali na sisi.
The rejoinder comes days after Ford Kenya's July 31st National General Council meeting that resolved, among other things, that the party joins the One Kenya Alliance side ahead of 2022 general election.
Yesterday's opponents are today's allies. Yesterday's political adversaries are today's political partners. And that's how politics goes.
Our focus is to have an NDC, to have a National Delegates Congress, elect officials of the party, then we embark on strengthening our party. We can then decide whom to speak to, when, and so on and so forth. But if anybody is working on a formation of another party, that's their business.
The political maneuvers come as the Registrar of Political Parties, Anne Derito, told KTN News that she is still perusing through the documents presented to her by the three NASA affiliate parties to pull out of NASA. ODM has announced plans to exit the coalition, but it is yet to do so. This comes as the Ford Kenya case on who is supposed to be the leader of the party remains in court months after a bloodless coup by the Wamunyinyi faction. Emmanuel To, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, Javas Bigambo, tell us, where does this leave NASA? We keep attending the divorce proceedings of this NASA union, but it's always ending, then it's back on. The three parties signed the pact, but now we understand Ford Kenya's signature is not valid.
I would say that the spirited attempt to dissolve NASA itself is an effective subterfuge to create a new political canal for renewed negotiation or creating a new platform for purposes of getting into the 2022 general election with new spirits, new entrants, and some kind of new ideals. Recall, too, that our political history being true as it is today, there is no time since the advent of political coalitions in Kenya that we have headed into a general election with a single coalition remaining as it is, powerful as it is, headed into the next election. So this one was, the dissolution of NASA was for purposes of creating another platform, an avenue, to bring in new other actors, renegotiate afresh. Because if NASA was to remain as it is, then it means that elements of the agreement would hold and therefore would even foreclose some kind of new realities that need to be appreciated. But now, looking also at the terms of that agreement that constitutes NASA, you realize that the infighting within various parties, the infighting within Ford Kenya itself creates the Achilles heel for the ultimate dissolution of NASA. ODM itself, in fact, was the primary party way ago to indicate that NASA is dead. It proclaimed the death of NASA. In fact, it even cremated NASA, yet NASA was not properly dead, at least by way of the law. Today, ODM itself has not ratified or endorsed a decision to exit that political coalition or platform that NASA is. And so I think the onus, first of all, is on the Register of Political Parties to accept or acquiesce with the decision of WIPA, the decision of ANC to exit NASA, and therefore see to the extent that maybe ODM will want to exit NASA itself, or whether the issues of Ford Kenya will be resolved in time to facilitate that exit. However, without that last nail in the coffin of NASA, then it means that the dissolution of NASA will not be properly conducted by way of the terms of that agreement.
Chumba, you're a lawyer. Is NASA dead or alive?
Legally, NASA is dead. Politically, it died long time ago. Legally, why? When you read Article 13.1 of the NASA agreement, the one that was deposited with the Register of Political Parties, it says that anytime 3 parties within NASA leave the coalition, that marks the end of the coalition. Depositing whatever they have agreed with the Register of Political Parties is just having a formal way of closing it. It's just the same way when you go to a divorce court, having the order absolute. The divorce has already taken place. By the time you have the order Nisi, the decree Nisi, the divorce has already been done. So just when you come back for the decree to become absolute, to crystallize, it's just a matter of formality. But what surprises the onlookers and any political commentator in the whole NASA thing is if you are a divorce lawyer, amidst a very heated, murky divorce.
Noisy and messy.
Yes, a messy and heated divorce, and you realize that your client is still sharing a bed with your adversary in court. It really confuses. That is where NASA leaves all of us. It is like a divorced client who still shares a bed with the other adversary in the other end. It really leaves everybody not knowing, as a lawyer, where do you go next? But coming back to the NASA issue, there are things that, although the NASA divorce is as mendacious as it has become, there are things that ought to be put into context. The value of NASA without Raila Odinga is very diminished. Those are some of the things we must say. And why NASA must recalibrate itself is because if we go back to the NASA agreement, Raila Odinga can be a candidate. Because you remember, there was an agreement that whether he loses or he wins an election, he will have to support another person. The other reality is this. For you to go and bargain and to look fresh to voters, you need something new. People who will be voting in 2022, some of them were 14 years in the last election. The discussion of NASA was so peripheral for them. You need to bring something that looks like bring on board their ideas. The other question is when you want to renegotiate some of these things. For Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, when you are in a new place, you come saying, you know, this is what I want, this is what I want. And you now bring in new players, Gideon Moi, the guy from Machakos, Senator Governor Mutua, and any other person who wants to join the fold can come. But bottom line of it is this. Without Raila Odinga, you can call it Oka, you can call it code or whatever, that coalition is dented, and without Raila Odinga, it ceases being an horse. It becomes maybe a mule in the race, because Raila Odinga brings some oomph in the politics, without which there are so many other people.
Without which you're saying it will leave only one horse in the race?
No. Raila, there are only 2 horses. The other one is a Mustang, which is being tried to be pruned by the name of NASA or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that, and it is an unfortunate thing, we must also tell our viewers, that Kenyans are trapped without options. It is painful, Ben, such that we cannot think about outside the 5. William Ruto, Raila Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Wetangula. We are doing badly as a nation. A nation of 48 million people cannot be reduced to be held hostage by 5 people. Even this problem of elections we are talking about is because we have been held hostage by the top 5 politicians. We have no options as Kenyans. When our friend Mogisa Kitui came, the scandals that followed him later became popular than his candidature. Look at other people, so it becomes a bit complicated.
All right. Roslyn, we've heard about the One Kenya Alliance, OKA, and we are being told that there are plans to form another mega coalition that will bring together everybody in the handshake arrangements. What can you tell us about that?
Ben, if you have followed our politics, I think the reality is that we cannot avoid a coalition. There is no political party that can go it alone. If you even look at Jubilee 2017, they had to collapse 13 parties to be able to have one party, and you can see where that took them. Now, if you look at NASA, they also had to bring together other affiliate parties, 5 affiliate parties, for them to push for the 5+1. Now, if you look at even going forward to 2022, yes, no single party, even UDA that is affiliated to the deputy president, they still rely on some fringe parties. And that is why we see Moses Kuria is coming in with his party. We see former Minister Kiunjuri coming in with his party, and we are going to see more. Now, based on this, One Kenya Alliance is also seeking to bring other people. The reality here is everybody wants to be on the table, and they cannot negotiate as single parties. So they have to come together as coalitions so that they can win others. And that is why if you heard Murade talking the other day, he was saying going forward, we are going to have very few formations, which means if ODM and Jubilee are going to come together, then we might see an expanded coalition where they might rope in again One Kenya Alliance members. And even when they were quitting NASA, they said they have not closed the door. Mm-hmm. They're still open to work with Raila and the others. So again, you can see this is just to reinvent themselves so that they can negotiate afresh. Because when they look at the agreement they had in NASA, maybe what they had agreed now cannot come to fruition because they didn't form the government, they didn't get what they want, so they really want to come back and renegotiate. And if you look at even the Wiper leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, he's going to relaunch his communication center tomorrow. You can see how committed they are so that when you call them and negotiate with them, they will tell you, this is what we are bringing on the table, and this is what we want. The last time the One Kenya Alliance members met, and they met the technical team, one of the discussions they had was that the affiliate members should hit the road and talk to their supporters across the country so that when they meet, each person can say, my backyard is locked, and beyond my backyard, this is what I'm bringing on the table. So if we are supposed to come in an alliance, then this is a stake I need to get. So this is where we are going. We might have a very big coalition bringing on board the top notch in the political scene, but each will be coming in with yes, what they will get in 2022.
All right. This must have the final say on this. Truthmaster, one of our viewers, is saying, for ANC, Wiper for Kenya to leave NASA to join OKA is akin to moving out of a bungalow to live in a grass-thatched house, trying to make the point that it is not going to last if the coalitions of the past are anything to go by. Do you believe then this OKA is not the end game, that there's something bigger? It is still early days. What do you think?
You know, I come from Mosocho in Kisii, and some of those grass-thatched houses are superior to most of the bungalows you have in Nairobi. And even the former president of South Africa, Zuma, has put up his house in the model of a grass-thatched house, which is very solid. But now going to the substantive issues, yes, as my colleagues have indicated, the wrangles within Ford Kenya are immaterial, because the NASA instrument suggests that once 3 parties have decided to take a walk, then NASA is as good as dead. ANC has taken the decision ODM has taken the decision, and Wiper. So the four factions could go to court till the cows come home, and NASA is as good as dead. That's number one. Then number two, my friend here, who is a highly regarded lawyer by the name Kipchumba Karori, says that Kenyans have been held a victim by 5 top politicians. And I think he speaks about the Stockholm syndrome, that we've been held captive and we've fallen in love with our captors. So they assault us, they beat us, but we are still falling in love with them. And then he proceeds now to make a mistake and says that we are going to have a 2-horse race. So I'm wondering, on one hand, you're saying that you're held captive by 5 people, and then you're beginning to condition Kenyans that it's going to be a 2-horse race. Now, when you start conditioning Kenyans that it's going to be a 2-horse race, then how does Dr. Mombasa Kitui come in? How does Kiapi come in? And how do these other people come in? And I think we must run away from creating fallacies and generating propaganda that is going to be a 2-horse race. Let us allow every Tom, Dick, and Harry. If you meet the bare minimum of running for president in Kenya, you come and present yourself, and the voters, be they irrational or emotional, will take a decision. And then he also proceeds to talk about the One Kenya Alliance, and they dismisses it by a whiff of his hand, saying that they're inconsequential. Yet this alliance gave Jubilee and the permutations and combinations, including UDA, a beating in very strategic by-elections. And you remember when UDA won 2 seats in parts of central Kenya, they actually went to Mount Kenya and they broke into a dance and they opened champagne bottles. But they forget that they got walloped, a thorough beating in Machakos by Wiper and Ford Kenya, as well as ANC in Western Kenya. So in my view, we would not be giving Mura a good deal if we start conditioning her that it's going to be a 2-horse race, so that she loses hope, she doesn't even go to register for election, because she'll say that this thing is already predetermined. Yes. It's incumbent on us, outside spending our mornings having this conversation, to grow democracy in Kenya, to water the front end of democracy and ensure that we as a people in Kenya invite divergent ideas so that at the end of the day, Mura gets a deal.
Mokua, you see, the issue of conditioning of Kenyans is not something that is nascent. It is something that can be traced back to our post-colonial politics. You see, akin to Pavlov's conditioning, you remember the issue of the dog and its training, you realize that Kenyans and their psyche, even today, is such that certain eminent persons, the persons of Raila Odinga, today William Ruto and Musalia Mudavadi, as long as they live, and Kalonzo Musyoka, as long as they live, then they must be on the ballot for it to be a serious election. We have not entertained our thoughts to issues of ideas. So I agree with you on the issue of conditioning, but that conditioning has not started now.
Okay.
That conditioning
Out of time?
is
just a second.
Post-independence politics.
Okay.
What we must remind this Mokua is that as much as we must paint the ideal world, we can never fail to open the practical current situation. We can never run away from the bridge we are using. We might want to fly, but we are crawling. Coming back to the issue of candidates and conditioning, there is a famous Nigerian, Professor Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka quips that no matter how much utensils vibrate in the kitchen, the ingredients of making fufu remains the same. So, to this Mokua, no matter how much Olekiapi and everybody comes, if they have not staked their hopes in the national table, we are not here to discuss global warming or the market. But we are here,
I think I've got the right of reply, especially to what Javas has indicated.
We are here to discuss real politics.
Javas is a lawyer.
I'll give you 30 seconds because they've addressed you, yes.
Yes. Now, Javas is also a young lawyer. And he says that whatever is happening in Kenya was started by our pre-colonial masters, that we've been conditioned in that manner. Now, assuming that it's an illegality, shall we continue engaging and socializing with an illegality because it has happened in the past? No. We must open our eyes to new frontiers and take a decision that we are not going to be held by...
That is why we are saying the new frontier is a mule.
Are we not the ones who are nurturing political hermaphrodites, who want to, yes, pursue their ambitions, but still do not want even to acquiesce or to agree
Well,
and
it
embrace
is their constitutional right to
Yes,
run.
it is.
They
It
can-
is the constitutional right of Kenyans to vote for whoever they
whoever
want.
presents here. So let's not discourage top talent.
put some eyes on that.
It's not about top
Let's take
talent.
a
It's
commercial
about
break here
serious
inside
political
politics.
contenders.
When we come back, we shall be finalizing on this, and of course, we shall be giving you the chance, as always, to have the final word on our discussions today. Talk about Deputy President William Ruto's travel wars, the season of alliances with what's happening in NASA, and of course, the readiness of this country for the 2022 general election, which will be going down in the next 366 days. Stay with us.